All right, everybody, I am here with our reigning world champion, Nathan Steuer. How are you?
I'm doing great, Corey. You know, I'm here. I'm feeling ready to win back my title and keep it as the defending world champion. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm just getting ready to play with my Blue-Eyed Soldiers deck, which has been treating me super well in practice so far.
Gotta love it. I don't know how you're going to put a second world championship trophy, you know, on a mantle. They might break there with how heavy they are. But you said it. You're playing Azorius Soldiers here. What made you want to play a more aggressive deck? That's usually not your style. You like mid-range, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, one theme that I've kind of demonstrated over the past year is I'm going to play whatever I think the best deck is. And even if it's a little bit outside of my comfort zone, you know, a little bit of this aggressive, maybe mid-rangey slanted strategy, I'm going to try to pick it up and adapt and figure out the play patterns. And luckily I had Simon Nielsen, sort of a resident expert in these strategies, to help guide me in practicing. So feeling really good about this deck so far.
Excellent. Well, that's why you're the GOAT. You can adapt on the fly like that. So let's dive into the deck list here. The first card I really want to talk about is probably my favorite card, maybe just in Standard right now because it's such a fun card to play, is Knight Errant of Eos. Tell us a little bit about this card in the deck.
Yeah, so Knight Errant of Eos is the sort of card that, for one, it's the value engine in your deck. What you're ideally looking for when you have Knight Errant is you go, okay, turn one, I'll play a soldier, some one-mana creature, let's say a recruitment officer. I'll play Resolute Reinforcements, make 2 guys, and then ideally on turn 3, you're casting this for only 2 mana, 1 or 2 mana, and suddenly at that point, you've drawn 2 cards off your Knight Errant. Hopefully, you're starting to build a really wide board, and the thing with Knight Errant is if you get up to 5 creatures, you can just find another Knight Errant off of it. So it's
chain them together kind of thing.
Exactly. It's probably the most important card in the deck in terms of your real good draws come together whenever you have this card, and definitely the spell that's probably, in my opinion, one of the most powerful cards in Standard right now. We see it a lot in Pioneer, so I'm a huge fan of this card. Huge reason that I'm playing Soldiers too.
Makes a lot of sense to me. And another card that really stands out if you look at this deck list is really the blue cards. Make Disappear and Zephyr Sentinel. They're really the elements that allow you to kind of play on your opponent's turn. Was Make Disappear just the automatic counterspell that you wanted to be playing? Really no other option type thing?
So Make Disappear was a little bit comparable to Protect the Negotiators, which we have 3 of in the sideboard.
Oh, sure. Yep.
But the good thing about Make Disappear is it doesn't really ask a lot of your hands. It just means, well, if you're playing a game of Magic and your opponent casts something on curve, Make Disappear is going to be able to counter it. And when you have a ton of cheap creatures that you can sack later in the game with the 1/1s and extra creatures you make, it'll mostly counter everything up until the very end of the game. And so I think Make Disappear is sort of the de facto reason why am I playing blue instead of being a mono-white strategy? Well, Make Disappear is great.
That's the big one, yeah. And if you can ever knight out a bunch of creatures and leave 2 mana open for Make Disappear, it feels like a nightmare. I've had to play against that combination, and it's not fun, I'll tell you that. Another thing that allows you to kind of play on your opponent's turn is the Zephyr Sentinel. This is a card we've seen in previous Soldier builds. Is this just an amazing card now as it was at Pro Tour March of the Machines?
Zephyr Sentinel is a little bit unassuming, but I would describe it as like the glue of your deck.
Okay.
Zephyr Sentinel is going to help be a great role player to not only start beating your opponents down in the air, you know, the type of card that if you play it on turn 2, your opponent usually has to kill it, but it also protects your other creatures from removal, and you're trying to set up sequences where your opponent's in this bind of, do I kill your creature now, or do I wait for a better target and potentially get blown out by the Zephyr Sentinel? So it helps you with the Make Disappear and your Resolute Reinforcements, all your flash threats, sort of play this sticky game that's hard to interact with on the opponent's side.
Or bounce the Knight Errant and get that value going again.
Recast that, draw another Zephyr Sentinel, keep chaining off.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Now, the next card we gotta bring up is from the newest set, and when you submitted your deck list, we saw bunny ears on you to maybe hint that this was gonna be in your deck. Let's talk about the bunny. We got Regal Bunnycorn here from the newest set. What made you want to play this? Because this is not a soldier.
Yeah, so Regal Bunnycorn was actually a pretty late addition to the deck.
Yeah.
But the strength of this one is often, like Tarmogoyf, it's going to be a 2-mana 5/5, 6/6, 7/7, a really huge creature that demands an answer from the opponent. And the reason you don't want to max out on this card is, well, your deck is usually naturally pretty set up to beat 1-for-1 removal spells, and so if you draw a lot of this card, it's not as great. But in matchups where your opponent's interacting less, this one is going to kill them really quickly. You play against a domain strategy, and it's really hard for them to beat a hit from this creature. So I love the Bunnycorn. In my opinion, one of the best non-land cards from the new set, and a big reason that I'm excited to play this deck is I get to play the Bunnycorn in it.
Well, I think with how excited you are to play this deck, we're all just as excited to watch you play it and defend your title. Nathan, best of luck to you.